Hello everybody, welcome back to another War of the Visions video. Today we're talking Irudia, who is the new water calculator coming sometime in September. It's actually Monday morning and we haven't got the announcement that she is coming this week, the first week of September, and that's what we would expect from Japan. So I'm going to wait until the tonight's news. If there's a notice about her, then I'll release the video, and then otherwise this may be coming to you later than I anticipate. Either way, we're going to go over all of her stats, some comparisons, and talk about her overall as a unit to decide on whether or not you should pull for her. Before we begin the review, I just want to quickly shout out War of the Visions calc.com, because they supply all of the stats, the images that I use in these reviews, and they are an amazing website. I use them pretty much every day on my phone, on my computer, and you can actually support them on their website. There's a link to do that. So please go ahead and check that out if you wish, and just thank you so much to WOTV Calc for all the information, all the work that you all do. Okay, so talking about Irudia, I'm not sure if that's going to be her name once they translate it, but I'm just going off the Japanese name for now, is a water magic user, job calculator, which is new to us, and she has a 3 move and 1 jump. Pretty standard. Spellblade and Black Mage sub jobs, mace as a weapon, which is very interesting, and then your typical hat cloth accessory. Taking a look at her stats, we can see that she is a little bit beefier than Medina with over 2000 HP. Comparable to Kilfei. Her strength is not important. Her magic is lower than the other 2 mages, and we'll take a look at that later, but that's something that we'll have to really consider with her skills. Her dexterity is really high, like super high, and then she has below average luck, or kind of like, well, just not great luck, and then okay agility as well, and then no added defense, but a little bit of spirit from the Spellblade sub job. So overall it's an interesting stat package. I do like the increased HP because I want my mages to be a little bit at least take 1 hit. That would be really great to be able to get in, although without cast times, as we're going to talk about in just a little bit, Irudia does become much more interesting. But the lower magic is something that we have to really consider, and we're going to talk about that multiple times during the video because of the way that her passives work out, and because of the way that her weapons work out. So she is going to also get increased magic from her master, or from her board, and that's really important. Like, that is absolutely crucial. Without that, she would be in quite a bit of trouble. So I'm going to talk about her weapons because that's honestly super important. The fact that she doesn't get a staff like Medina and Kilfei could definitely affect her viability. So when we're taking a look at the different maces she has access to, you can see that there are several choices. When you look at the mithril mace in the middle there, you can see that the magic version actually doesn't get very good magic at all compared to the iron mace, which is the rare weapon, and then the platinum mace, which is going to be able to get 184 magic. So really there's no way around it. If you're going to be competitive with her, you're going to want to build a platinum mace. Although I actually do have a +5 iron mace almost completed magic for mastery, and I was just doing that on my spare time because we don't really have access to mace books. I've been using the item exchange, but we are going to get a platinum mace event to coincide with Irudia's release, which means that you'd probably want to farm that like crazy if you were going to be using her, and then you would actually have something for mastery as well. So that's going to be a super interesting way that you have to build her, is which weapon you're going to build and how much you're going to put into it, because you can actually see that the increased magic attack it's not bad at all on the +5 for the iron mace, but you really do lose just so much magic stat over the platinum mace. So I think you do have to build the platinum mace. Otherwise, we're going to talk about her resistances and her TMR. So her resistances are fine. I mean, they're all pretty standard for a caster. She's got the magic resistance there. Confusion resist and disable resist are both really solid. Those are both status effects that we see. Fire, being strong against fire is good because lots of people will have Ildyra right now, and then there's also rain, who is very prevalent, and then even characters like Olda and stuff. Looking at the TMR, it is a cloth armor. It's got good stats, like 10 spirit and some HP. Like, that's not bad at all to have, especially now that we have our Sortilege accessory. You could wear that to have some defense as well with your caster. But the TMR ability is really, really interesting. It's like a transposition effect and a quicken. So what you do is you switch places with your teammate and then quicken yourself so you can take a turn immediately. So it's like getting an extra move. Like, you can move forward, switch places with someone farther away, and then get your turn again, and then move and go again. And I don't think that's going to be super relevant in auto content, but it will obviously be really neat to use in something like manual PvP, because you can do some fun stuff with that. Her master ability gives her area resistance and then increased spirit 5, and I actually think this is going to be really relevant because casters use area attacks. Our Agriuses are going to use some area attacks. There's lots of those around, and I actually kind of see her as a magic tanky type unit if you build her a certain way, and more on that in just a second here. So looking at her support skills, this is where we need to really make some difficult decisions. So I'll talk about the non-calculator abilities first. The first one is Providence of Fire, so you're going to get fire resistance and magic resistance, and you can already see how we're stacking. We've got 11 spirit total with master ability. We've got 20% magic resistance plus another 12 here. We can really stack magic resistance, and that's going to be very, very cool. You can also get magic up 30%, which is obviously super important for a caster, but what about these calculator abilities? So the first one, height 3 to height 2, that's going to change any abilities that you have that list height 3 as the multiple or as the height that they need to be on to do increased damage, and we'll talk again, that's coming up. It will change that multiplier to, or not multiplier, that multiple of to be 2, so any height that's a multiple of 2 will get the increased effect, and that's going to be map dependent. So if you're on like a certain PvP map, you might put that on because you know that people are often on height 4, they're often on height 2, and then God forbid they're on height 6. So you'll definitely have to think about that one quite a bit, but the other one is super important. So it's going to change anything that's listed as level 4 in an ability to level 3. And this is pretty much mandatory for PvP because 99 is a multiple of 3, and you want to have increased potency on your spells. So you basically have to have this level 4 to level 3 equipped for PvP with Irudia. So that's going to give you a really tough time here, where on certain maps are you going to be able to equip the magic up level 1? Are you going to have to just forego Providence of Fire? Or are you going to have to just go with the level 4 to 3 and then magic up? Like that's where it's going to get kind of tricky on how you build her. So taking a look at her counters, she gets a pretty interesting counter here actually. She gets the counter that absorbs HP as well, which is really, really interesting. So I think that's the one that you use. Maybe the magic reduction one if you're really actually building her like a magic tank, but otherwise I think that just being able to heal yourself and counter damage, although yeah, it's just going to be really really solid. Oh, sorry, actually now that I read this is going to just heal you, and I don't think that it actually deals damage back to the opponent. That's my mistake. Alright, moving along, we're going to talk about her calculator abilities, and this is where we're going to spend the bulk of the video. So I've got the translations here from the War of the Visions Game A website, the wiki, and you're going to see right off the bat that there are a bunch of things that say height and level, and we'll go through that all. So the first two, height, high water, and height, high cure, these are going to be a single target water spell and a single target heal that are going to heal or damage more based on how high your target is. So the higher they are, the more they're going to deal. And you're going to notice that every single calculator skill has no cast time. So these are instant use, which is absolutely incredible. You're also going to notice that the next three spells all have really nice and big AoE areas, so they're going to be able to hit people more easily. So for example, height 3 Cura, you've got this huge AoE, so you can heal a bunch of people at once, which is certainly very nice in PvP. But the difference here is that height 3 Cura is going to be able to heal people for more based on the amount, that they're on a height that's a multiple of 3. So 3 and 6 and 9 and so on. Those are going to be your multiples, and if they're on that level, they will be healed for more. Same thing with level 4 Waterga. If their level is a multiple of 4, then they're going to take increased damage. So you can see here at the height that you might actually want to change that to 2 to hit more heights. And then same thing for level 4 Waterga. You're going to want to change that to 3. Now, I don't have the increased potencies. It's not broken down here what the difference is. It is on other wikis. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on that, and I'm just going to tell you that if you fulfill the conditions of the height and level, you will get to do more damage and you will get to heal more, and there's various ways of figuring it all out. The Holy Spell is also a height 3, so that could be a height 2 if you wanted to, but it's not guaranteed hit, but it is AoE and it is light damage. So it is nice to have that kind of different element ability and like a different type of AoE. So that's definitely very, very interesting. The sub skills there, you're going to get a disable, which is instant. You're going to get this CT average. So it basically, like, if you know what your opponent's CTs are, and let's say they're all about to get a turn, and you average the CTs of everybody in that area, then you would be able to possibly like bring everyone down to 50, let's say, and then maybe your unit's really fast. You would actually get another turn faster than your opponent. That's a manual PvP skill right there. And then there's also level 4 Watera, which is very similar to Waterga, but you're going to pay less AP and do less damage. I don't know that that's really needed, that these 3 skills are mandatory or not. They don't seem that impactful. I think it's going to be those top skills there. So really with this, what you're getting is a unit that can cast, let's say, black magic spells instantly at better ranges, better AoEs, and can do some really sweet damage if you're able to meet their requirements. And that's why they say that she is such a great farmer, because she can just do everything instantly and hit large amounts of people all the time. It makes her a really interesting unit that way. So the question is, if we're not going to sub calculator, then what would we sub instead? Well, she has the Spellblade sub job, and again, I really like this one, and I'm kind of, maybe I'm crazy, and someone can tell me in the comments if I'm crazy, but here's all the pluses to subbing Spellblade. All the skills scale with magic anyway, so she's going to be able to deal significant damage with these abilities. It gives her a second attack type, so if you do build her as a magic tank and she's fighting other magic units, not only does she get the increased magic resistance buff, which I don't know if she'll use or not, but she will actually get slash damage. So when she's fighting against other magic users, she might do more damage with her slash attacks, and her opponents would be casting magic attacks on her, which she has big resistance to, and then you'd be able to win those duels. She also gets Fire Killer from multiple skills here, and She does get taunting spell, but I would definitely turn that off unless you were really going hard the magic tank route. But again, this is just super interesting to me. I think that there's something to be said about having different attack types, and then also having access to just a whole nother range of skills that are for being close up to your opponent. And then she's also going to get the Black Mage sub-job, and I'm not sure if you'd use this outside of PvE content and Tower, because you're really just getting a lot of the same skills, but they have to be cast. And if you're using her this way and you have other mages, you should just probably be using the other mages, because they're going to have an easier time getting their magic up. And Medina just has a crazy high magic stat, so you should probably use her. But there are applications here, like there's some really good TP skills for Tower. There's Drain is always really solid, and there's some, just having access to more casts for Tower is really solid. So I think you would sub her Spellblade or sub her Calculator depending on the situation. Okay, so finally we'll talk about her Limit Burst, which is really interesting. It's going to basically make whoever gets hit is going to go faster, from what I understand, and it costs AP, so she can use it right away. So it's just basically like a quicken AoE, and if I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comments. Sometimes it's hard to interpret these, but that's what I understand it to be. Next, we'll compare Irudia with our other mages in the game. So first up is Medina, and you can see that I've put their total magic with their master ability slash Irudia's ability board down at the bottom there. So Medina does get more magic at the expense of less HP, and then she also has less dexterity, a little less agility, a little less luck, but you know that Medina gets all sorts of powerful spells like Flare, Blizzaga, and just such an amazing special. So Medina does have a lot going for her, including the highest magic stat. We also can take a look at Kilfei, who is going to get more HP than both of them. She gets that defense and all those defensive skills, the better regular attack, and she also gets some spirits as well, and her magic is actually lower than the other two once you factor in the master abilities and the ability boards, which I actually didn't realize. So this is kind of calming me down on Kilfei a bit, because I didn't actually realize how she stacked up compared to the other two casters. They are all going to get magic up level 1 from their jobs for their passives, and this is where I don't think that Irudia is always going to be able to use this, and I really think that's going to be a sticking point with her if you can figure out the optimal way to build her. But here you have it, all their stats compared to each other, and you can see that they all have very comparable stats. They're all going to be good casters, and I think that they are all viable. So with all of that said, the question is, should you pull for Irudia? And I'm going to say, yeah, I think you should. And there's of course a situation where you shouldn't, and that situation would be if you have Medina and you have Kilfei, you're probably set for a while in terms of casters, but I think that if you don't have either of those, or I guess we all have Medina now, which is something to consider, but if you don't have Kilfei like I don't, then I think it's smart to add another caster of a different element to your team. And in general, like even if you have Kilfei, it's not bad to have these casters in different elements anyway, and she does fill different roles in your team. Being water means that she's going to be strong to Delita and Rain, but it does mean that she's going to be weak to units like Orlando and Frederica, so just something to consider there as well. For myself, I think this is a unit that I would be very, very happy to pull. I think that she's going to be terrific in PvE content, as a farmer in the tower, etc. And she's also gonna have some viability in PvP as well. And I can't wait to possibly test her out if I'm able to pull her in the future. So that's going to be it for this video, and I hope it was useful to you, and you can let me know if it was down below in the comments, or you can come on to the Discord and chat with us as well. We'd love to have you join us. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can show your support with a like and subscribe, and by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/MassidiaGaming. Until next time, keep it real, Massidians.